Happy Coffee Talk Tuesday, everyone. It's nice to be back after our little 2-week break. Hope everyone had a great Labor Day. Happy Tumbleweed Tuesday to all of my East Enders out here. So today we're going to talk about Facebook changed its privacy settings for groups, and that does kind of change things a little bit. Anybody who has groups already will be automatically defaulted to its new counterpart. So we just wanted to give you guys a heads up about the groups and what they're going to be now and what that means for you. So hope everyone has their coffee. And I'm sure everybody's either first day back to school or back to work after the long weekend. So I'm sure everybody needs it. All right, and you guys know the deal. When you're here, be sure to say hi and let me know if you have any questions. So Facebook groups privacy change. So they kind of just decided to not necessarily change the privacy in general, but they more or less changed the wording of it just to make it a little bit more clarified what each group is. So you have 3 sets of group. The previous groups were public, closed, and secret. But Facebook decided that those were a little bit confusing to the user, so they have changed them to public, private and visible, which is the old closed group. And that means that people can see some of the content that you've posted. They can see who's in the group, but they can't join the group unless they request. They get an invite, but it is a searchable group. So if I were to go on and I were to search Stark Media Marketing Group, I would be able to see the group. I don't have to be given a direct link to it. And then finally, the third one is the secret group. And that has changed to private/hidden. And that is invite only. You will not be able to see who's in the group or any of the content in the group until you are invited and or accepted into it. So the reason why this came about, beyond the fact that they thought that people were getting a little unsure of what each of the groups meant, it comes from their Safe Communities initiative, which they started about 2 years ago when all of the privacy stuff came to light. So that attempts to stop bad behavior on their platform, essentially meaning anything that is offensive, that is derogatory, racist, things of that nature, really tries to put the kibosh on it before it is either flagged by people, seen by other people. They really try to stop it in its tracks before it gets any type of traction or it gets out there. Hey, Chase, good morning. Thanks for checking in. So that's one of the reasons why they have switched over to public, private, and visible, and then private and hidden. So this way people really understand the type of group that they're in and where the standards are as far as who's seeing their posts. Now, you can still alter the privacy on your post if you're posting within the group. So you can choose to have just people in the group see it, or to have it visible to everyone if you're in a private visible group. So back in April, Facebook updated their policies that said that they would hold administrators of groups to a higher standard, which means that the admins of these groups are really responsible for policing the activity within that group. So if Facebook seems to continually flag a group or get that kind of bad behavior kickback from its AI, it will penalize that group and essentially the admin of that group if it goes against their kind of code of conduct. So in order to help admins, they created this thing called a group quality tool. And essentially that takes Facebook's AI and anything that may be flagged as bad behavior or goes against their privacy policies or code of conduct, it will show up in this tool, this group quality tool. So admins will be able to see why something got flagged, the rules they broke, and they can either delete from there. They can mute users if they are continual offenders. And hey, Graham, good morning. And they can basically just overall take a look at the quality of the group to make sure that it's staying up to the code of conduct, and the group and or the admin does not get penalized for any activity that's happening within the group. So what does that mean for businesses? Well, if you are a business and you have a group, I highly suggest having a private yet visible group, because you want people to be able to search your group to find your group. And I'll give you 3 reasons why. How about that? First off, it creates almost like a sense of FOMO, and we've used that term a lot, but fear of missing out. So if, someone who is in my industry, or maybe my friends, because I'm, part of, let's say, like a running group or something, they can see that I'm in the group, they can see that I'm posting in the group, I'm active, and they can see the conversations. So they could want to be part of the conversations if they have similar interests or work that aligns with me. So it can create FOMOs for other people. It also allows the admin to control the content and the people who are within the group. And that is the big thing, especially since I just brought up that back in April, admins are responsible for what goes on within the group. So it's important to have a visible group, but also private, so you can control that conversation. You can make sure that the people that are within the group are going to provide quality content for the group, that they align with the group. And also, thirdly, it shows more qualified leads, which actually may stem off where you can have a separate conversation with them, maybe via Messenger, or then you could take, let's say there's a handful of people within your group that are pretty vocal and very active within the group. You can pull that off into a private group, and especially if you have, let's say, a product that you're considering rolling out, or a new feature that you want to introduce, you can pull that group of vocal people off to a private hidden group where you can then discuss potentially new features, product rollouts, and you can get some really great feedback and discussion in those private groups. But that's not necessarily to say that all private groups should not be the way to go for business, I guess you could say. Mainly because depending on what your subject matter is, if there's something that is of a personal subject, or maybe something that's maybe a little bit taboo, if you have a group, let's say a home, or just a support group for battered women, we'll say, they may not want to go public with that with their family and their friends, but they still need that support. So as opposed to going down to, let's say, their local community center, they're going to find that support online now. So that would be a reason to have a private hidden group. So things like I said previously, if you're doing rollouts with a new product, service, or if you want to test something out, host your own kind of little focus group, or if you have the subject matter that is of a personal or could be taboo or embarrassing, that would be a reason to have a hidden group that is private and hidden, that you have to be invited to or request to be in. And then finally, public groups. I don't recommend public groups because it is essentially a free-for-all on the internet. And we've all seen things go a little haywire, a little out of control on the internet sometimes. So I don't recommend public groups, especially because I said admins are going to be responsible for the conduct that happens within the group. So you're going to want to, like I said before, make sure that the content that is being discussed is appropriate is not breaking any of their code of behavior, and also the people that are coming into the group align with what the subject matter is. So new changes to groups. You now have public, private and visible, private and hidden. And I recommend for all my business buddies out there that if you are going to have a Facebook group, which we all know Facebook is doing a big push to, that I recommend private and visible. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in to Coffee Talk Tuesday. I hope you all have a wonderful Tumbleweed Tuesday. If you have any questions about groups or anything else for that matter, or if you just want to drop a line because you missed us, feel free, and we always love to hear from you guys. So hope you all have a lovely, lovely week. Take care.